and he can eat it.
He has to eat over there.
He has to eat, yeah,
Right.
or
Right.
whatever.
Right. What's the point?
Okay.
It's like, well, Pesach, he said that surely you have to eat matzah. Impossible, but you have to eat it in 4 minutes. Oh, now it makes sense. It's the same amount, it doesn't have to be in the mouth in one shot, in 4 minutes, okay. It makes sense. But here it's in one shot.
And one shot is very hard.
This doesn't make sense.
All right.
There's a guy that if I give a daf yomi, he always pictures to explain.
Uh-huh.
So when you pictures, you see, he explained it with picture. It's like a film. It's really nice.
No, I have to do it wrong. For me to understand,
Right.
because they're short, my legs means not to.
Right. I think when Mashiach will come, the Iker, like,
You're not going to be.
Basa B'chol is not going to be, it's all of a sudden going to become very easy. The Hilchos Tumah V'Taris, Take.
It will be, but
even the Hilchos at Terulis Bod is Tumas Amaisis, like today people keep it, that's, whatever. You figure it out. But Hilchos Tumah V'Taris, it's not going to be hard.
So we're all going to be so pure that the Tume, we're going to learn about it. Not be like now we learn.
Right.
It's not check to us. We're check to us, but we're not going to be a Tume.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
Still, it's going to be.
not going to be mixing anymore. So all these things.
Still, it's going to be. Yeah. Before we start this take, we'll talk about it in the siman itself on this few aleph. There's a whole machlokes. The kedusha is Beis HaKnesses, Beis HaMedrash. So there's a lot about this in the Rishonim. Basically, some hold the kedusha is Beis HaKnesses, Beis HaMedrash, that the kovet a moire for Beis HaKnesses, Beis HaMedrash is deraisa. Some hold it's derabon. Some hold it's deraisa, like for example, the Reim says, the Yeresim Elokecha tzivu b'ikon atzadam l'mikdash ela Beis HaKnesses ela Beis HaMedrash yichinim l'kovet b'moire. That's it. Hamoira echi enu mefureshes b'mikra pishu chazal, but it's min haTorah. Most Rishonim hold that it's the Rabbon. What's the difference if it's the Reis and the Rabbon? It's a huge difference. Yeah, you have a suffix about something, suffix the Reis, suffix the Rabbon, l'kula. It's a huge difference. There's a sugya that we're going to talk about soon at the end of the siman about making a Tanai in a Beis HaKnesses. The Gemara has a difference in Beis HaKnesses. That it's Yisrael, the Chutzloritz, if the Tanai is going to help only be Yeshuvan, only B'Charbonon, or even be Yeshuvan while the Beis HaKnesses is functioning, a Tanai is going to help. You can make this Tanai, that. Like you make a Tanai that it's a Shul, but we're allowed to make here a Bris and a Sudas B'Dyan Ben and this and that. Now, there is a kunz that and there's a whole discussion about that. There is a kunz that really started a lot by Gedolei HaChasidim, by Chashuvei, Rabbonai, whatever, Talmidei Baal Tev, that he had a trick. They made a Tanai that the Beis HaKnesses is not a Beis HaKnesses. And everyone likes it. That's the truth from the Moshe. He says, so not having the mitzvah now building a Beis HaKnesses. So they wouldn't put a sign, Beis HaKnesses, Beis HaMedrash, Beis Menachem. They would call it the klois. The klois. They would call it Beis Gadla Chachomim. They would call it all kinds of names, but they didn't call it a Beis HaKnesses, Beis HaMedrash. Dafke for a big reason. Some Achronim say, look, these Gedolei Yisrael, when they were like a Levitic Sefer Torah, when they came into a room, there was so much
Kedusha.
Yeah, there's so much Kedusha. But for us to do it, on the other hand, why did they do it? Be'ikr, because what Siddim started to make in Beis HaKnesses, Beis HaMedrash, a tish. We'd make a tish. We'd make a kiddush. V'chulu. Just clearly we're going to start learning where this is. Well, it's Hamed Chachamim, Medoichak, not Medoichak, Beis HaKnesses, Beis HaMedrash, but Stam, how do you make tish? So someone could say that the tish and the kugel and the herrings all whatever mekem van emfenen that it's a sudas mitzvah and behemesis takazay. Elamai,
Mr.
these
Rabbi's meal.
tzaddikim, but these tzaddikim, they didn't think of themselves as tzaddikim, and they didn't think of their kugel and their herring as a sudas mitzvah. They thought of it as a sudas reshus, or Shabbos at most, but they didn't look at it as So b'meila chaser on the basic HaKnesses. So what should we do? But they needed the space. They couldn't afford. So they couldn't afford to. So they had a trick. They didn't call it a basic HaKnesses. Didn't call it a basic HaKnesses. The Fedish made it tonight when they built it or when they bought it, that it's not a basic HaKnesses, not a basic Medrash. There's a mile and a chisor in it. Now, a lot of the poskim say, still in all, the Aron Kodesh is still here, and the Sefer Torah is still here, and the Svarim is still here, and it's still a Beis Vadlach Chachamim, and we're learning Torah here. So it's only going to help. Lagabe, the Zoya says, a person that talks, we're learning even the Mishnah Berurah soon, that if a shul that is Kalos Roish, that shul turns into Rachmanim Tzlan, a Beis Avodah Zorah. And the Zoya says such unbelievable strict things about talking in a Beis HaKnesses. Not talking by davening.
Just b'chlad.
Talking in a Beis HaKnesses. So they were so chored, seems like a treisel from the Zoyar. So they were scared, so they didn't want to call it a Beis HaKnesses. We're not a Beis HaKnesses. Okay, so we lose the mile of there's a mile of learning in a Beis HaMedrash. There's a mile of tefillah in a Beis HaKnesses. Leidach, we have to balance, like in business, what you gain and loss. On the other hand, if people talk, it doesn't. All the achronim later say that even in a close, it doesn't mean you can talk b'shas atfila. So atfila is a chutzpah tzedemon shalom. You talk to Melach Malachim
Man Chashmei.
Man Chashmei. Or you talk to Eivish, you can't talk. So they figured, okay, but at least so b'shas from Mahoidu from Hoidu till the last Kaddish, Shemini should add also l'daber, like the signs have a lot of also l'daber b'shas atfila kriyas haTorah. Also l'daber Beis HaKnesses tam. Also l'daber Beis HaMedrash tam. If you make it tonight that this is not a Beis HaKnesses, not a Beis Medrash, still is also l'daber b'shas atfila kriyas haTorah. Okay. What the Knessiyas of what the Midrash is. Ein noige behem kalos roish. It's a Mishnah Berurah. Page Lamed Aleph. But the Knessiyas of what the Midrash is. Ein noige behem kalos roish. You're not allowed to have kalos roish. You can't schoik. The Yisrael, making jokes. Again, we're not talking about b'shas atfila. Stop. You're not allowed to make jokes. The Sicha B'Teila, like we say soon in Mishnah Berurah, it means even talking about opportunities in business, which is nice to help a yid find a job, but still. If it's very hot, you can't go into shul to get air conditioning. If it's rainy, you can't go in to get shelter from the rain. They are allowed to midoich. Some say Mishnah Berurah was midoich. Let's stop at this point, even though it's the middle of a sieve, and let's learn the Mishnah Berurah. Kalos roish came the kram mikdash mat. Kamadik sivela mikdash mat. Mikdash ksives mikdash itiro. Shia meiroi shalashoichem ba'alot. Because of the smak shabavoin kalos roish bebeis HaKnesses. You got it? No?
Oh, yeah.
Nepochim labote avoid zora chaz v'shara. Unbelievable thing.
Just by talking English.
Just by talking in the basic HaKnesses. Sicha b'teila. What does it mean, a sicha b'teila? Haina fila sicha schulun shelo tzerich parnas. Not something that's also to talk. The type of the word b'teila which, you just to learn Torah or talk, whatever. No, it's tzerich parnas. It's a lot of talk, but not basic HaKnesses. The basic HaKnesses also. Frat sicha b'teila gamri. The vader shiroilam noy mezeh. Zera kodesh pasha v'yakel hiflig moed begoid lavan hazeh. Kolch ken shelo zervis. Knesset Beis HaMedrash when Devarim Asurim, Kigon Lashon Harder Achilas Machloikis and Ketokis. Milavad Shem Aven Eschamor Moed Yigid Lav and Yoiser V'Makim Kodesh Kum Mezalzel B'Kavod HaShechina Aven Odem HaChoyte Ben Alavan Hatzel HaChoyte B'Foltin Shalom Malach Lifnei HaMelech Voitig Del Rabbe Zeh Shemach Shal Gam Arabim Aven Eschamor Manal Just like with water, once you have a crack, say like in a dam, you have a crack, and then water starts gushing all over. Like you see that what happens is there's a lot of Yidden in a shul. And unfortunately, if a fight starts, people start saying things to each other, it starts with two people, and then more people get involved. And in brackets he says, וגם פה מרבס בפני הספר תורה, שזה גם כן עוד מלחמה בפני עצמך, אפילו אם ואז החבר בפני תלמיד חכם. Omer Chazal, that's a terrible thing because in the front of a Talmud Chacham, traffic code is when Chelak L'Mabba, Kol Shkelim Vaz HaChaver B'nei Sefer Torah Kavod HaShechina. And then it comes L'Dakos, Rachmana L'Tzlan, Al Shinus, V'Goydel Chilul Hashem, Shemayim Ben Umis. Sometimes it happens, they're going to even find out that there was a fight in the shul. Mi Gorim L'Kol Zeh. Im Lo Yorishin Shizkol V'Aver Tchila. V'Vadei Losela V'Yitel Skar Keneged Kulam, obviously sarcastic over here. It means, chas v'shalom. In gain ayore v'choret l'dvar Hashem yosi tamed leina v'libo l'zeh shaloi l'dabe shu dvarim b'telam v'beis HaKnesses v'beis HaMedrash v'hamekah nazeh yim yuchad that's like a toilet. Okay. Ein Oichlin says Mishnah Berurah, they know some malachah. You can do anything in it, which is not tefillah and Torah. Nechama, he has a very interesting chomer in that. Says come on. Later in the sif we're going to say that if he needs to call his chaver in the Beis HaKnesses, didn't have cell phones those days. How's he going to call him? He has to go in. So what should he do? He should say a pasuk or sit down. That's also a mitzvah to sit in the Beis HaKnesses. Over there, says the Mishnah, he has no choice. He has to go call his friend. Over here, it's not going to help that he went in and said a pasuk in order to get shelter. Which is because the Gemara tells us a story that there were a few Amayroim that were talking, and they walked out of the Beis Medrash, and it started to rain, and they went back, and they said, "You should know, well, in fact, that we're going back is not because we want protection from the rain. Whatever, dasfana, whatever. Like when you want to learn a sugya, it has to be a clear, beautiful day. Yeah, if it's too cold, it's too hot. That's a Baruch Hashem today. Beis Medrash have air conditioning. When it's too hot, it's too cold, Shmait is a boy tzilusa. You have to have a good weather in order to think. It's 100 degrees, and it's 40 degrees, So that's why we went into the so that's what he's saying. It's mashma that dafka because they were learning and they needed the clarity. But stam to go in and to say a pasuk wouldn't help. The Gemara says later that if you call your friend, you just go in and you say a pasuk over there because you need to call him. What are you going to do? The Gemara is like, okay, we'll make him. That a little thing is already enough. But to protect you from the rain, going in and saying one pasuk is not good enough.
I don't get to still like sorry, so it's not raining.
I guess, I don't know. It's the difference of saying a pasuk or opening up a chumash and learning a psukim and hashi. It's like
it's not what he's going to do here. You say it's inside the word.
I'm already here, right?
Yeah. Motorim, Buadin, in dem Hutzrich ansheir lefishal hachla b'ma'orchim aniyim al ashkivam sham lemuter. That if it's temporary and the kehila needs a place to put the aniyim to sleep, you could do it in the Beis HaKnesses Beis Medrash. Azeh dafke bat knesses chutz laretz. V'yesh oising gam azeh v'nir makom atchak ein lahach. Because you see later the difference about the knesses Beis Yisrael and chutz laretz. Like Abelishas, so we said that there's a thing that Tamir Chachamim are lemuta lech Abelishas midoichik. So he says, "V'hu adin lishen shari." It's mutter for them to sleep. Amalas is kapandria. to walk through to make it a shortcut to the corners all these things that are bizarre. Kolchken, Schoy, Kisel, Sichabatelo, Asurim. Dort, Tamet Chochem, Ein Muzer, Amoyer, Migdash. Tamet Chochem, what's that Amoyer, Migdash? Anything which is a zilzal in the Beis HaMikdash, from Chochem is not allowed to be mezalzel in the Beis HaMikdash. It's an exception for eating, drinking, and sleeping zil. Okay, and we said that the kula for the Tzmid Chum is medoich. What's the shot medoich? Dining room got flooded. The yeshiva doesn't have a dining. So now they'll learn in the Beis Medrash, and they'll also eat in the Beis Medrash. Avraham, Kosav, no. Dimet Sarach Lelech, Lech Labelish, Beis, Bebadis, Batal Malamudu, Yavlima, and Eleven, Beis Knesset, Beis Medrash, Sunamalach, Velish, Sham, Achenis, Kim Kamachranium. They're totally different take to Magen Avraham. Ganz an andere Sache. What does it mean medoichek? It means that mutorim lechav lishtam, because for them it's a doich. What are they going to have to do if they can't eat in the basic Knesset Beis HaMedrash? You have to walk home. That's a big waste of time. So they wasted a lot of time from learning. Shenkin, if they could eat a sandwich in the basic Knesset Beis HaMedrash, they saved a lot of time and they could learn more. That's some shab medoich. Then we said Yishem Beis HaMedrash Afil Shalom medoich. Have the Kedushas Beis HaMedrash Chamura, Yoisem Beis HaKnesses, Svira Lahu, Delinin Tachom Tamidayim, Shalom Shamikbis Etilam Shalom Medoich. Even though the Kedusha Beis HaMedrash is more, but the Gabi Achil V'Shtiya will make all more for Tamidim Chacham. Mishum, the Beis HaMedrash who base, Lav Dafka Achil V'Shtiya, do the Chol Tash Mishaim, again, but things that are not a thing the L'choira Bizoin. But in the Bir Loch is a little bit of pilpul on this. Let's look on the side. Veshem in the Beis HaMedrash. Shinem Ayim Beran Yire L'Shitos Emuta Beis HaMedrash Tamid Chacham Afil L'Konis Bacham Nacham Cham Nekcham the Kebeis Asur L'Gamri. The posture that even then Lavar Mekavos Roish. When the Lord Hiskir Ramash Kulose is a mash from the lot of Shitos. Raklan Achil Shtia Kalishina. Shalom Medoich Shem Stabri Shlok Kamlin Short Tashmish Hel Shalom Shem Kolyam Badawi Davdol Dasaran Ein Lonu Moker Lohokol Beis Knesset Afil Medoich.
What would be the other tashmish? What would be an example? Eating, drinking, sleeping, what?
Oh no, you're right. What can you say? Eating, drinking, sleeping. What can the tashmish? Bathroom.
Business.
Shmona Shem.
Doing business. Like office.
I know. David after that's an animal macro hockle basically that's from the Deutsch. Como que lo hiskira ma daite mach when is the top of the hockle kedas and khava she the salam of sharpas. Okay. Right. The last line over here, we said that there's a shit at the Beis HaMedrash. We're very makel. We say it's Kebeis Dami. It's like the house of the Talmid Choch. Even if it's just as easy to go to his house, he's allowed to. He's just lazy. His house is across the street. It stops. But he wants to eat in the Beis Medrash again. He's allowed to. Shori, I'm Belavu Shabach, Shemetzadim Kain Levin, to be make. Okay. Okay. One more. I took another copy. Here, I'm giving you another copy. Yeah, sure. Here, page Lamed Beis on the Beis. So he said, "I'm Belavu Shabbat Shematzad Gamkin Ladin v'chein Yiddish Shalachim Lashon Shalayim V'Shem Kolayim Take." That the Achronim Take say like the Ramah.
Because you don't want to waste time.
Right. Therefore, we make all the Beis HaMedrash with Tamid Chacham all together. Okay, continue in the Sif. Ve'ein mechashma mem cheshbonis elim ken shel mitzvah. The only cheshbonis you could do is a mitzvah. Kigoin, kupa shel tzedakah, pidyin shvuin. That you're allowed to do those cheshbonis, you're allowed to fundraise, you're allowed to talk about it, you're allowed to make a cheshbon. We must feed them behem elim ken hesped lechem gedoyle hier. Shikobne hier miskapsen beim last feeder. Vein tzarech likonat of mutzarke. If he needs to get into the basic HaKnesses, thank you for joining us. If he needs to call a person, should go in and read a little bit. Shouldn't like he went in for Imena Yudea, Loy Likres, which is a pasuk in Chumash. Veloy Lishnes, a Mishnais. Yom Elechem Atenoik is Crowley pasuk Chatakoidaba. Tell a child to tell him a pasuk. Vayisha Ma'at, Achach Yetz Shishim B'Mitzvah, Shadem Ashre Yoshev Yisecho. Shishim K'de Hilch Shnei Psach.
2 doorways.
Yeah. It's a long time.
Half a minute.
Yeah.
So when you come from Delaware, you see more
Yeah.
or something.
And you see him stand up. Okay. He says that you could make a hesped. Shemeis Kreve Shel HaGodel Machzeh B'Mram LaHesped. Thank you. That this hesped is, even if it's not, because it's mashma from the Gemara, that it doesn't have to be only the Godel Ha'ir or a Talmud Chacham. The Godel of the ear has a relative, and because of the relative, but it's the Godel of ear's relative, so you could use the basic HaKnesses for a hesped. However, Arizal Nizem Oy, Chalul Dav basic HaKnesses are active loss, I feel a divrei muser, Loy Diber, Pen Yamashach Man Divrei Koel. Even Muser he didn't want to say. He only said words of Tefillah Alain. So, Shmua is halacha mish. Hakach ikven and niratzlam avlo yagdem akriya mekoydem shemer edvar Torah di nired it's Torah like tofel. First he does the mitzvah, which is the ikir, and then he calls his friend, which is that calling the friend is tough. How much should he sit? The hiluch hanishish hiluch shir hiluch shnei psachim dainu shmana tvach. It's not a lot. Okay, right. Yesh emrim shmasha shenina the b'kiddush b'as medrasha so it's lama shadab and down the basic HaKnesses. That's the Beis Medrash. It's open for the public. A person has a room in his house where he sits and learns. Ein loy kedusha kol ka. Ein loy kedusha kol ka.
Even if you get a break from text because you had shouldn't. It's all California.
Enough of wissen mit reden mit der IRS and wissen what we intended.
It's all state California.
No.
Regular assembly between people who have the church.
Aber wenn ich nicht weiß, als ich habe, wenn ich viele mispallen bei klar, ich auch durch das Medrash. If this is for himself, he dedicated the room in his house that he's going to learn there. So he does not have to do the Medrash. But if he dedicated a room in his house for the Rabbim to come and learn there, so the Kedusha from the Beis Medrash. Okay, continue. Gimel. Can't sleep. And over here he explains that the Shin is a fil Shin is Arya. Beis Medrash mut. Das war Mar Menachem der Alma. Zum Cham Shalom mit Sham mit Shin gesagt der Shari. Beis Medrash mut. It's Shalom Shin is Arya. I'm a Kedusha with Kivegish mefakfik behet zev. After the Kivich Beis Medrash also Lisham man harba lum lishma divreter. Because Lazar Shin is Arya. Shimla also reserve the Shum Adam. Shimru is saying that could be that the idea of Shinas Adai is for everyone. And then Talmud Chacham is what the village has Kev, Chemash Balavush. Maybe Chachamim wanted to if people are Yerushalayim, tell them you're not allowed to sleep in the Beis Medrash. They're not going to come to here. Wow. Worked very hard.
Might fall asleep.
Fall asleep for 2 minutes. You know what? I'm not going to go to the shir. It's like the Mishavuras, that's a Chum make. I'm nicht kommen and learn. It's terrible. So Chum understood. But if you don't go sleep, don't take your pillow and blanket and go sleep all night. But for the Rabbanan Talmidei that don't want to go home to sleep, they could sleep in the Beis Medrash. who do you have in the whole world? Such a thing. It's like an unbelievable thing. Think that they're going want to civilize their children. They're teaching them the good echol, ken shemeinen, the highest naval. They're going to become good people from learning a little bit of math and algebra. Yidden, Rabbonim v'Talmidim, the Rabbonim made a special leniency. Balabatim are coming. Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe, okay, these takonas in the Gemara Megillah, okay, Rebbe HaKodesh, the Gina B'Rabashi, Zman HaMishnah, and they're coming, and this word, Shlochim Vere, just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And the Chachamim don't want to go home to sleep, they want to sleep in Beis Medrash. No, don't worry, you can sleep in Beis Medrash. That's the thing by going, can't imagine. The world is B'chal. Think about Zman Abina V'Rabashi. What does Goyim look like B'chal? We're not civilized people B'chal.
They didn't know how to read and write, huh?
This is Man Chashmei. They didn't know how to read and write. Man Chashmei. Like, how they lived. And there's interesting discussion. Ben Ish Chai says, they asked him about the schools in Baghdad. He's not here tonight. He said, so basically, the cheder, the school where the kids learn as a din of a Beis Medrash. Can't learn secular studies, he said.
Cannot.
Also, he brought that there's a Chuvas Goinim that says that you could teach him. Goinim talk about. So the time of the Goinim, and some of the Goinim lived in places in the world that were actually quite civilized. Today it's the fakert, But in the places where the Goyim lived, were at that time was the place of civilization, and the Goyim said that you're allowed to teach children a little bit language, because it's going to help them on the Torah. But the Rav Polam said that Stamazoi is starting to teach how many presidents are in the United States. And to start teaching the children in the school the poems and stories from Saddam Hussein. I'm joking. So that's also Gomer. Okay, others say not true. Yeah, not whatever. Ad kedei kach. That there were poskim that said that the cheder, the 11th classroom, the classroom is a Beis Medrash. It's a Beis Medrash. You're not allowed to learn Limudei Chayil. Wish they learn Limudei Chayil. Go home. Brooklyn Public Library. That's for sure. Versteht sich. In other words, Zman she'eino yoy, ve'eino laila. Interesting discussion. Right. If it's for the basic HaKnesses, the Mishnah Berurah says the person is a shomer. So we need to have security guards in the basic HaKnesses. So we say, okay, fine, he could sleep. Aber basic Medrash, Metam ze yishenu b'leil yom HaKippurim basic HaKnesses afilu tzayir mitzvah acheres. Because it's for mitzvah. That's the Mishnah Berurah. You can't bring beds in there, but they could sleep. Now, but Ashona, I'm Morgan Abram Shem Shem because look at the Sudas Mitzvah. Could go in. What kind of Sudas Mitzvah could you have? Could go in Sudas Ibashona Shem Makalas Rosh. Try to serve the parts for kidneys, Balavad. Ratzlam focus Sudas Mitzvah share Rishikris. Also, Rabbi Beis Medrash. Foma Kamanogam Local Last to the Siam Shas, Beis Medrash. Mokamachem Rubach was aim limit was beyond Lashem Mishri Smoich. They said in the Sharatzian, looking down to Yudua, Chitas and Ambam Rajba. The basic necessary should be at Nahu Asuyun. I feel be Yeshuvan. That the Tnai helps even be Yeshuvan, Mutter, Letzorech Hanim, Letzorech Ram, Lefisha. Rashi is Ramses Virel Night for Shuvan. So therefore, that's what I was saying before. It's like even if you say that Beis HaKnesses, you could make it tonight. The most and even Yeshuvan you could have, but the tzaddikim were worried. Hatish, the kugel, the herring. That's not a sudas mitzvah. You see how the what could you have? Pas kidneys, or maybe it can be makel that that even siyum. Like what goes into a klal of sudas mitzvah that we say that a Beis HaKnesses with a Tanai, mind you, a Beis HaKnesses with a Tanai, you're allowed to. That's why, as I said before, these big tzaddikim, they were very worried. So they said, this is not Beis HaKnesses, it's a klois. By the way, there was someone that wrote to the Rebbe, it was a book or something, Chassid Shahoif. In English? Yeah. Chassid Shahoif.
Okay.
That's I try again.
Hoif is a chotzer Beis HaKnesses. It was like funny. The Rebbe didn't like it. The Rebbe said in the Haim they didn't call it a hoif. A hoif is the connotation of a hoif is a chotzer, and a chotzer is chutz labayis. The Rebbe it's so funny. Like sometimes the Rebbe would like nitpick what seems nitpick, like that some sefer style, like chodesh asar, Rebbe said no. In Europe, they didn't call it. Here they call it a hoif. He said the Freie people in Europe. He said people nishtarviv, people of Bissel gewonnen to tumult, because people like Shalom Aleichem or guys like that who were off the beaten path, and maybe Dafka wanted to make litzonis. They wanted to make litzonis or whatever, so they would call the Rebbe shehoif. But the Rebbe said that that's not a authentic Jewish terminology. Ahoif. But there is a klois. The klois is you see. I mean, even Truvis in the Noida B'Yehuda from the Chachmei klois Asher bebrod. So you see that the klois is taka an old. So where did the klois come from?
What does the klois mean? What's the translation of klois?
I know what we use it for.
Okay,
I don't know what the technical. I don't know. Maybe we can go to Rebbe Google and find out what the technical thing was. It's probably some word in German that became what a klois means.
So what does it mean?
Oh, what it means is a beis vad l'chacham. Klois means like a beis vad l'chacham. What does it?
That's what they call it at Uman.
Wanted to call like a divrei chaim.
In Uman, that's what they call
It comes like
the
shul. So that's the Indian that they gave a name. They didn't want to call it a Beis HaKnesses, a Beis HaMedrash.
Right.
They gave it a name like klois.
That's the name.
Understood is that it's a Beis Vad, it's a place to have tefillah and Torah, but it doesn't have the special dinim of a Beis HaKnesses, a Beis HaMedrash.
Oh, it does. Uman, in Uman, that's the name of the shul.
And it's so sensitive, how they came to the Hilchos that told the Rebbe that surprised that your best manners look like that. Come to my house in California and you see what mean beauty now. So the Rebbe asked him, did you have a boiler room in your house? He said, yes. Yeah. How is the room? This is the worst room in the house, but it's warm the whole house. He said, this is sensitive.
So in this course, people are learning. It's the place where it's new for the people are learning.
Right.
So automatically, it's
no. They made it tonight that it doesn't have the din of a Beis HaKnesses, a Beis HaMedrash.
Okay, so then it's a Beis HaKnesses and Beis HaMedrash tonight. It's even then.
No, that's what they wanted to be mischakim, to say it's not a Beis HaKnesses with it tonight. It's not a Beis HaKnesses. That's why they called it a klois.
It's not a basic. Okay. I don't know if you like if you call a pig a cow, it doesn't change it into a cow.
It's a Beis Medrash katan.
I mean, it's
The Mizrahi
automatically, right?
It's not a skeleton.
She wrote that.
It's not a
It is something more to it. No. Well, why? They're saying that this place we bought al time. If they have a chisaron, then it doesn't have the mile of a kedusha Beis HaMedrash, but the person has the right to be mispal in a place that's not a Beis HaKnesses. It's better to person doesn't have the right. Again, if you already collected the money from the kohol and you can, that's already a separate shiloh. But these tzaddikim that collected the money al daitom, what they're going to do, it's different. Okay, look, there's a mile and chitzon, and we'll discuss it in Mitzvah Shem next week, the week after. They definitely have a chitzon that you don't have the kedusha of the Beis HaKnesses there.
חכמים יסתכלו בבית המדרש.
מה אתה זה? כן, בוא נחתן לנו בין הנבא של הסלם ממש לא איזה מן השופטים ולכן אומרים that's how I get close. When we came in here, we made a tonight. Shaila is our next place. What do we do? So that's why we're learning the halachos. We'll know what to do. Shumi is coming, so. Oh, now with Shumi we have 9.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 9, we have 10.